Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Daily Life English Podcast. I'm your host, Henry.
And I'm Sarah. Thanks so much for joining us today. Whether you're listening on your way to work, relaxing at home, or even doing the dishes, hello to you.
Today, we're diving into a topic that everyone can relate to, and it's something we all do every single day.
That's right. We're talking about daily routines. What time do you wake up? What do you do in the morning? How do you end your day? Exactly. By the end of this episode, you'll feel more confident describing your own day in English, from sunrise to bedtime.
These are simple things, but they're super useful when you're learning English. Talking about your daily routine helps you practice the present simple tense, build your vocabulary, and connect with other people. All right, before we jump into all the vocabulary and examples, let's start with a fun question, Sarah.
So grab your coffee, get comfy, and let's get started.
Are you a morning person?
Okay, I'm ready.
I'm actually the opposite. I love mornings. I usually wake up before my alarm goes off. I like the quiet, and I make a cup of coffee before the world wakes up.
Oh no, definitely not. Mornings are not my thing. I usually hit the snooze button at least twice. What about you?
That sounds intense. So what's the very first thing you do when you wake up?
Wow, I admire that. For me, mornings are a little chaotic. I wake up, rush to get ready, and I'm usually still half asleep when I leave the house.
Fair enough. I make coffee right away, too. Then I usually take a quick shower and do a bit of stretching.
First I check my phone. I know. Bad habit. Then I go straight to the kitchen to make tea. No tea, no talking.
Sounds familiar for a lot of people, I'm sure. But routines are different for everyone, and that's why they're fun to talk about.
You're so organized. My routine is more like wake up, panic, get dressed, and run out the door.
Let's get into some useful vocabulary to help you describe your daily routine step by step.
Yes, and today we'll help you, our listener, learn to talk about your routine clearly in English, even if it's a little messy like mine.
Yes, these are words and phrases you'll use almost every day. So let's go through them slowly, with examples, and we'll repeat each one so you can practice with us.
All right, it's time to go over some important vocabulary you can use to describe your daily routine.
First word, wake up. That means to stop sleeping.
Let's start with the morning.
Next, get up. That's when you actually leave your bed. So I get up at 7:15.
Right? For example, I wake up at 7 a.m. Now you try.
Same here sometimes. Next word, take a shower. For example, I take a shower every morning.
I usually wake up and then stay in bed for 10 more minutes before I get up.
Another important one is get dressed. That just means you put on your clothes. I get dressed before I leave for work.
Then we usually brush our teeth. Try saying it. I brush my teeth after breakfast.
All right, now let's move into the daytime. One useful phrase is go to work or go to school. I go to work at 9.
What about breakfast? You can say have breakfast, like I have breakfast at 8 a.m.
Exactly. Then we usually have lunch around noon. Say it with us. I have lunch at 12:30.
If you stay home, you can say, I work from home, or I study at home.
That's right. Those are common work-related actions. We'll go deeper into those in a future episode.
Then comes the afternoon. You might check emails, make phone calls, or go to meetings.
Try this. I get home at 6. I cook dinner around 7. I relax by watching TV.
Now let's talk about evening time. When your day is slowing down, you might get home, relax, or cook dinner.
And before bed, people usually take a shower again or brush their teeth, then go to bed.
Nice! You can also say have dinner just like have breakfast, lunch. I have dinner with my family.
Let's quickly review the key phrases. Repeat after us if you can.
Finally, the last phrase, fall asleep, that means you start sleeping. I usually fall asleep around 10:30.
Go to work, go to school, have lunch, get home, cook dinner, relax, go to bed, fall asleep.
Wake up, take a shower, brush your teeth, get dressed, have breakfast.
Up next, Sarah's going to ask me all about my daily routine. So stay with us.
Great job, everyone. These phrases will help you describe your whole day in English.
I'm ready. Let's do it.
All right, now that we've covered the vocabulary, it's time to hear it in action. Henry, I'm going to ask you about your daily routine. Ready?
I usually wake up around 6:30 a.m.
Okay, first question, what time do you wake up?
I lie in bed for a few minutes, then I get up, open the curtains, and go straight to the kitchen.
Oof, that's early. What do you do right after you wake up?
Usually, I make coffee first. Very important. Then I drink my coffee while I read a little news or check my phone.
Nice. And do you eat first or shower first?
Yeah, I try to keep my mornings calm. After that, I take a shower, then brush my teeth and get dressed.
So kind of a slow and peaceful morning. I like that.
Yes, I do. I usually have eggs and toast or sometimes yogurt with fruit.
Sounds like a good routine. Do you eat breakfast?
I leave home around 8:15 and go to work by train. It takes about 30 minutes.
Healthy. What time do you leave for work?
Exactly. I start work at 9. First, I check emails, then I usually have a short team meeting.
So you're at work by 9?
Pretty much. I work at a computer, so I try to take small breaks, stand up, stretch, walk a little.
Do you sit at a desk all day?
It depends, but usually I have lunch at the office cafeteria around 12:30.
That's smart. What about lunch? Do you bring lunch or eat out?
Yep. I work until 5:30. Then I head home. I get back around 6:15.
After lunch, back to work?
I usually cook dinner at home. Simple stuff like pasta or stir-fry. Then I eat and relax for a bit.
What do your evenings look like?
A little of both. I usually watch a show or read a book. Then I take a shower, brush my teeth, and go to bed around 10:30.
Nice. TV? Reading?
If I'm not scrolling on my phone too long, usually by 11.
And what time do you fall asleep?
Yeah, I try to keep a routine that helps me feel good and focused.
Sounds like a pretty balanced day. Not too rushed, not too lazy.
Exactly. And now it's your turn, Sarah. I'm going to ask you about your daily routine next. Okay, now it's my turn to ask the questions. Sarah, are you ready to tell us about your daily routine?
And you used so many great English phrases in there. Wake up, have breakfast, go to work, get home, cook dinner.
That's okay. I think many of our listeners can relate. So, first question. What time do you wake up?
Ready? But I'll be honest, it's not always super organized.
You like those extra 10 minutes, huh?
I usually wake up at 7:30, but sometimes I hit snooze a couple of times. So I get up around 7:45 or even 8.
Nice. Do you go straight to the shower?
Yes, I need a slow start. The first thing I do is check my phone messages, emails, weather,
That sounds relaxing. What about breakfast?
Not always. Sometimes I make tea first, then I stretch a little or do some light yoga just for 5 or 10 minutes.
Do you work from home or go somewhere?
I have breakfast around 8:30, usually oatmeal or toast with peanut butter, and always tea.
Do you stay in pajamas or get dressed for work?
I usually work from home. I start working around 9. First, I check my schedule and respond to emails. Then I get into my tasks for the day.
That's smart. So, what's your lunch routine?
Good question. I always get dressed even if I'm not leaving the house. It helps me feel more focused.
Do you go outside at all during the day?
Around 1 p.m., I take a lunch break. I usually make something simple like a salad or sandwich. Sometimes I just reheat leftovers.
And what time do you finish work?
Yes, if the weather is nice. I try to go for a short walk in the afternoon, just to get some fresh air.
What's your evening routine like?
I try to stop working by 5:30 or 6. Then I close my laptop and take a break before dinner.
What time do you go to bed?
It depends, but usually I cook dinner, then watch a show or talk with a friend on the phone. Sometimes I read or just scroll on social media for a bit.
We've all been there. Your routine is flexible but still productive.
I usually go to bed around 10:30, but I don't always fall asleep right away. Sometimes I stay up a little too late watching videos.
Absolutely. And listeners, did you notice the differences between Sarah's day and mine? That's what we're going to talk about next. All right. So now that we've both shared our daily routines, I have to say, Sarah, we definitely have different styles.
Yeah, I like having structure, but also time to relax. And it was fun using all those daily routine phrases in real conversation.
I noticed that you hit snooze a few times in the morning, while I'm usually up before my alarm.
Yes, you're the early bird and I'm more of a slow starter.
Exactly. After my coffee, I jump into the shower and get ready quickly. I like having a clear routine in the morning.
Yeah, I really need those extra few minutes. I move slowly in the morning and I don't usually shower right away. You take a shower early, right?
I think it's great that you do yoga in the morning. I just stretch a bit, but maybe I should try yoga too.
I get that. For me, starting with tea and maybe a little yoga helps me wake up gently. That's my me time.
Yep, about 30 minutes. I listen to podcasts or music while I travel. How about you?
And you commute to work, right? You take the train?
Good idea. Getting fresh air helps. And what about lunch? I usually eat at my office cafeteria. Do you always cook?
I usually work from home, so no commute. That's one big difference in our routines. But I try to go outside at least once a day for a short walk.
Dinner sounds kind of similar, though. We both cook at home most nights.
Most of the time, I like simple lunches. Sometimes leftovers, sometimes I make a sandwich or salad. Nothing fancy.
Yes, I try to. Or I watch a show. And I noticed we both go to bed around the same time, around 10:30 or 11.
Yes, I usually eat around 7. Then I relax, watch something, or talk to friends. You read more in the evenings, right?
Absolutely. Everyone has their own rhythm. The important thing is to find a routine that fits you, and then learn how to describe it in English.
True. Even though our routines are different, they both work for us. And I think that's a good message for our listeners, too.
And now it's your turn to practice. In the next segment, we'll guide you through some questions you can answer out loud. Okay, it's time for you, our listener, to join the conversation.
Yes. Whether you're an early riser like Henry or a slow starter like me, you can talk about your day with confidence.
We'll also give an example after each question to help you. Are you ready?
That's right. We're going to ask you some questions about your daily routine. You'll have time to answer out loud, so don't be shy. Speak with us, even if you're alone.
Question 1. What time do you wake up? For example, I wake up at 6:30. Now, you try.
Let's start with the morning.
Question 3. What do you have for breakfast? Example, I have coffee and toast. Now say it in your own words.
Question 2. What's the first thing you do in the morning? For example, I check my phone or I brush my teeth. Your turn.
Question 5. What do you usually do at work or school? Example, I answer emails and go to meetings. Now describe your day.
Question 4. What time do you go to work or school? Example, I go to work at 9 a.m. Your answer?
Question 7. What do you do after work or school? Example, I relax and watch TV. Go ahead. Tell us your routine.
Question 6. What time do you have lunch and what do you eat? Example, I have lunch at 12:30. I eat rice and vegetables. Your turn.
Great job! If you answered out loud, give yourself a little round of applause. Really? Practicing out loud helps your speaking and confidence.
Question 8. What time do you go to bed? Example, I go to bed at 10:30. Now you try.
Exactly. You can even rewind this part and practice again tomorrow with different answers.
And don't worry if your answers weren't perfect. What matters is that you tried. The more you speak, the better you get.
That's right. And remember, you can repeat after us to practice. Here we go.
Next up, we'll share some helpful tips for making your own routine easier to talk about in English. All right, now it's time for a quick mini role play. Henry and I are going to act out a simple conversation about our daily routines. This will help you hear how the phrases flow in a natural setting.
Hey, Sarah. It's going well, thanks. I just woke up and had my coffee. How about you?
Hey, Henry, how's your morning going?
I wake up at 6:30 a.m. most days. After my coffee, I take a shower and get dressed. I like to start the day with a routine. Do you have a routine in the morning?
I just woke up too, but I need at least 15 minutes to wake up properly. I check my phone on first, then get up. What time do you usually wake up?
I work in the office, so I go to work at 8:30. Check emails and attend meetings all morning. What about you?
Not as organized as yours. I usually have breakfast around 8. I make tea, then I read or scroll on my phone while I eat. After that, I start working. What do you do during the day?
Nice! And what time do you usually have lunch?
I work from home, so I start working at 9. My day is a little more flexible, but I try to take breaks every couple of hours.
I eat at the office cafeteria. After lunch, I work until 5, then head home. What about your evening?
I have lunch at 12:30. Sometimes I cook, sometimes I just have a quick sandwich. How about you?
I go to bed around 10:30 usually. I like getting a good night's sleep.
In the evening, I usually cook dinner. Then I relax with a show or talk to my friends. I go to bed around 11. What time do you go to bed?
Sounds like a plan. It's nice to chat about our routines.
That's smart. Well, I'll try to follow your example and go to bed earlier tonight.
You can practice with a friend or even just in your own head. The more you use these phrases, the more natural they'll feel.
So there you have it. A short, friendly conversation about daily routines. We used a lot of the vocabulary we've been talking about today.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode and learned some useful phrases. Don't forget to check out the rest of the series to continue improving your English.
Exactly. And remember, everyone's routine is different, and that's totally okay. Just practice talking about yours in English and you'll improve.
Yes, this part will help you improve your speaking even more. Let's get started.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time on the Daily Life English podcast. Now, before we say goodbye, we want to share a few language tips and point out some common mistakes that English learners often make when talking about daily routines.
Exactly. For example, I wake up at 7 o'clock or I go to work every day. These are things we do habitually, so we use the present simple.
The first tip is all about using the present simple tense. When we talk about daily routines, we often use this tense because we're talking about things that happen regularly.
Another important tip is how we use time expressions when talking about our routine. Phrases like, in the morning, at night, every day, and on weekends help make your sentence clearer.
A common mistake is using the wrong verb form like, I am wake up at 7 or I am go to work. That's incorrect. Just say I wake up at 7 o'clock and I go to work.
And when you're talking about parts of the day, use I work in the morning or I go to the gym in the evening.
For example, I wake up in the morning or I go to work every day. But sometimes learners forget to use these expressions. So instead of saying I wake up 7 o'clock, you should say I wake up at 7 o'clock. The preposition at is important for specific times.
Right? For example, you might say I wake up to 7 o'clock, but it should be I wake up at 7 o'clock.
A common mistake is confusing to and at when talking about time.
When we describe our routines, we use a clear order of events. First, you might wake up, then get dressed, then eat breakfast, etc.
Another example, I go to work at 9 o'clock. You used to when you're talking about the action of going somewhere, but for the time, it's always at.
The correct order is I wake up, then I get dressed, and finally I eat breakfast. This is more natural.
But a common mistake is mixing up the order, like saying I get dressed and then I eat breakfast. You can understand that, but it sounds a little strange in English.
Exactly. Another example, I get up at 7:15, not I get myself up.
One final tip is for reflexive verbs. For example, when you talk about actions you do to yourself, like get up or wake up, you don't need to add myself or yourself. Just say, I wake up at 7 o'clock, not I wake myself up.
Also, keep the actions in a logical order and avoid using myself or yourself unnecessarily.
All right, so to summarize, remember to use present simple for routines, pay attention to time expressions, and be careful with prepositions like at and to.
And remember, English is all about practice. Don't worry if you make mistakes. Just keep using these tips, and you'll keep improving.
And with practice, these will become second nature. We hope these tips help you sound even more natural when you talk about your routine.
Thanks so much for listening to the Daily Life English podcast. Until next time, have a great day. Well, that's all we have for today's episode. We hope you enjoyed our discussion about daily routines and picked up some useful phrases.
That's it for today's episode. We hope you learned a lot and enjoyed our conversation.
Before we go, we have a little homework for you. We want you to record yourself talking about your daily routine.
Yes, thank you so much for listening. We love helping you improve your English, and we hope you're feeling more confident talking about your own daily routine.
Once you've recorded yourself, listen to it and check if you're using the present simple tense correctly and if your sentences sound natural. Don't worry about making it perfect. Just keep practicing.
That's right. You can try answering the same questions we talked about today, like, what time do you wake up? What do you do in the morning? And how do you spend your evenings?
That's a great idea, Sarah. Writing will help reinforce what you're learning. And remember, practice is the key to improvement.
We'd love to hear about your routines. If you want to share your experience or any questions, feel free to leave a comment on our channel or social media.
And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any upcoming episodes. We've got more great topics planned to help you keep improving your English.
Thanks again for listening. We'll see you next time on the Daily Life English podcast.
Take care and happy learning.